Hey guys, it's the very last week of instruction for the year. It is Monday 6/1. Today or yesterday, whenever you were watching this, you're going to finish 10.6 homework. And you should have watched the video and taken the notes with me last week on Friday the 29th. And then today we're going to review in preparation for Chapter 10 test. It's our last one. It's the last major grade of your grade book for quarter 4. We're going to watch the video. You can start the homework today. Then tomorrow you're going to finish the homework. On Tuesday, make sure you come to office hours if you need help. It's the very last homework, the test review homework. And then on Thursday, the 4th, you can take the Chapter 10 test. It's the very last grade. On the 5th, you should finish up that test or start it on that day if you want to. Then the entire next week, 6/8 through 6/10, which is Wednesday, you'll finish everything. You'll want your areas to be spick and span clean in preparation for grades going out, 4th quarter grades. As soon as you finish anything, if it's late, will you shoot me an email so that I can know when to update it? That will just help me keep the books up to date. So here we go. We're going to review for Chapter 10 test. This is the chapter test in the book that we would have done if we were in person. So you can follow along with me there if you want to. So here's our warm-up. Identify the population and the sample. The population's always bigger than the sample. So look this over, pause the video, and give it a shot. So the residents of a city versus the senior residents of a city. This is the population. The senior people are the sample. Number 2, members of a gym who play basketball and the members of the gym. The ones who play basketball are a sample. They're a targeted group, whereas all the members is the population. Books in a classroom and non-fiction books in a classroom. This is the sample because, again, it's a targeted group of books, whereas all the books in the population are not. Travel mugs in a souvenir shop versus the mugs in the souvenir shop. Travel mugs makes this the sample because it's a targeted group, and this one is the population because there are more of them. So now I'm going to start that chapter review page at the end of the book. You can expect some of these questions to match almost perfectly with the Chapter 10 test. I did shorten the test compared to what it would have been if we were in person, so it should be pretty straightforward, I'm hoping, but make sure you get the help that you need. We don't want to do test corrections this time around because, the school year's ending. You want to get the help that you need before you take the test. So here we go. You randomly choose one game piece. The first part says find the number of ways. Then the next part says find the favorable outcomes. Favorable outcomes means you get what you want. Finding the number of ways is how many times that favorable outcome can occur. So choosing green, one of them is green. The favorable outcome is getting green. Now, if the question on the test says find the probability, you're going to need to count how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 out of 10. 1/10. Number 2, choosing not yellow. Well, we'll need to know how many game pieces are not yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways that you can choose not yellow. If the question asks about probability, you'll need to turn that into a fraction. Either one will do. Let's try some more. Use the fundamental counting principle to find the total different sunscreens possible. Fundamental counting principle says that we can use multiplication to find out the total possible outcomes. So for SPF, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. And for type, there are 3, lotion, spray, or gel. To find out the total possible outcomes, you're just going to multiply. 5 times 3, that's 15 possible outcomes. Let's keep going. Here's some experimental probability. Now, on the test, I'm going to tell you how many times they rolled the number cube, because I don't want you to spend time counting up how many there are. So in this experiment, they rolled the number cube 90 times total. So use the bar graph to find the experimental probability of an event. The probability of rolling a 1 or a 2. So the probability of rolling a 1, they rolled 12 ones, and they rolled 18 2s. So a 1 or a 2, that's 30 out of the 90 total rolls. And if you reduce that, you're going to get 1/3. Chop off that 0, reduce 3 over 9. Now, the next one says rolling an odd number. We need to know how many times they rolled an odd number. 1 is odd, 3 is odd, and 5 is odd. So we need to add up. They rolled a 1 12 times. They rolled a 3 14 times. They rolled a 5 16 times. In total, they rolled an odd number 42 times out of 90. Then you can divide that by 2. 2 goes into both of those, and you'll get 21 over 45. Both are acceptable. Okay, number 6 says not rolling a 5. Well, we know they rolled the number cube 90 times, and 16 of the times were a 5. That means 74 of the times were not a 5. And both of these numbers are even, so I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2, and I'll get 37 over 45. Let's keep going. Oh, there it goes. Okay. This question's not in your book, but it's worth practicing in preparation for the test. It says, you and your friend are among 5 volunteers to help distribute workbooks. What is the probability that your teacher randomly selects you and your friend to distribute workbooks? So there are 5 volunteers in the audience. You and your friend are among the 5. What's the probability that you get chosen? 1 out of 5. Right? You're one person out of the 5 total, volunteers. Now, there are less volunteers in the audience now because you were chosen. Your friend is one of them, and there are 4 volunteers left. To find the probability of both, we'll need to multiply 1 times 1 and 5 times 4. This is a compound event, which is a dependent compound event because the results of the second were dependent upon the first. Let's keep going. For some reason, oh, there it goes. Okay. Of course, this would happen on my last video where I can't figure out how to get to the next slide. Anyway, all right, here it goes. Use the spinner to find the theoretical probability of the events. Theoretical means we're not actually spinning the spinner. No one is actually spinning the spinner. So we need to find out the theoretical probability of spinning an even number. 2 is even, 4 is even, this is a 6, and 8 is even, and there are 9 possibilities. So it's 4 evens out of 9 total slices, 4 ninths. Then it says spinning a 1 and then a 2. This is 2 events divided by the word and. So we need to find the probability of the first event, then of the second event, and multiply them. So there's 1 out of 9. There's 1 2, 1 out of 9. The probability of spinning both of them is 1 out of 81. Multiply. It's a compound event. You can expect one of those on the test for sure. Couple more. So it says you randomly choose one chess piece. Without replacing the first piece, you randomly choose a second piece. Find the probability of choosing the first and then the second. These events are dependent because you did not replace the piece. You changed the amount of pieces left when you chose it. So there are 16 pieces on this chessboard. 8 of them are pawns. There are 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 bishops, a king, and a queen. On the board right now, there are 16 pieces and 2 of them are bishops. Now if you draw a bishop, we go in and we choose a bishop. Only one of them is a bishop, and there are 15 pieces left. To find the probability of choosing them both, we'll need to multiply. Make sure you're multiplying straight across. 16 times 15, that's 240, and 2 times 1 is 2. But I can reduce that because 2 goes into 240 evenly, so that's 1 out of 120. Very low possibility that you will randomly choose this, 1 out of 120 possible. Let's try another one. The probability that you choose a king, there's 1 king. There are 16 pieces on the board. You choose and keep the king. There's still 1 queen, but only 15 pieces left on the board. To find the probability of both, we'll need to multiply, and we'll get 1 out of 240. Compound dependent events. Last one. Okay, last one. Sorry, this is a little blurry here. It's number 11 on the chapter 10 test page. So it says, you want to estimate the number of students in your school who prefer to bring a lunch from home rather than to buy one. You survey 5 students who are standing in the lunch line. Determine whether the sample is biased or unbiased. They are standing in the lunch line. You targeted that group, and since you did that, you skewed the data. So when you do that, when you choose people who are already standing in the lunch line, they obviously prefer to buy one at lunch already. So you can't target a group when you're trying to make a valid conclusion. So this sample is biased. You'll need to be more random with your selection in order to get usable data. So that's the end of our test review. Make sure that you're taking the test this week. Get the help that you need during office hours. I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful summer. This is my last video. See you around. Bye.